been good.
Whereabouts have you come over from today?
From Essex.
Okay.
So around Romford, near Romford, Gideon Park.
Yeah. And where do you play your golf at?
Oh, we play all over.
Yeah.
So
Is it part of a society, is it, or just a friendship group, or?
we have a society that we play, but me and my mate, we go like try and play every couple of weeks. No,
Yeah.
twice a week.
Yeah.
So we played. He's a member at Westmoreland, so we played that quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
We played like Westerham last weekend. We had a society day there, and then we paid to play at Woburn.
Yeah.
Played there. Played 2 courses there.
Great.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
It's next level. You can't really compare when you play that and then you play your regular courses.
Yeah.
It's
But
totally
that's
different.
the beauty of golf, right? Is we're able to get onto these amazing sort of courses and places that in other sports you can't really access. You know, football grounds or whatever. You can't go and have a kickabout with your mates at sort of Old Trafford or Wembley, but you can go and play these amazing golf courses, right? You know, so stuff to aspire to, and obviously you just hope you play well on the day, right?
100%, yeah.
Brilliant. And obviously you got you in for Iron Fit today.
Yeah.
Talk me through sort of, obviously you see you've got your Titleist T200s here.
Yeah.
Fitted, not fitted?
Well, these were fitted in Brentwood.
Yeah.
I went for a fit in actually yesterday for PG. What's the company? PXG.
PXG. Yeah.
So I've just been trying to see what I can do. Like,
Okay.
I'm 15 handicap.
Yeah.
But I want to get much better, and I don't know whether these are holding me back or not.
Okay.
Just wanted to see what's going on.
When you say that, what makes you, what makes you think
I like to tinker a lot. I just don't know. Like sometimes something just doesn't feel right. Sometimes.
Yeah.
I just want to, because I know like on a good day I can play really well, but it's the bad days that I want to be able to still get around and do all right, not do amazing. But it has to be a good day. It's not like. And if the equipment can help me do that, then
Sure. When you picked these up, what were you aiming for? What were you going for? Were you a different handicap at this point when you picked these up, or were you the same sort of level?
I think I was around the 20s.
Okay,
20
so
marks.
you've come down sort of 5 shots then.
Yeah, and then the aim is to get to a point where I'll get below, like get to single figures. So I want something that's going to help me get better and better and better. I don't want something just going to tie me over for the next season. I want to hopefully I can grow into them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I used to have the Titleist T300s the other day, the ones quite bigger.
Yeah.
I had them first, then I went back and then I looked like the likes of these and hit them okay. So then we went into these. But I'm open to anything. It doesn't have to be Titleist.
No. Okay. All right. Perfect. Yeah. Great. I'll let you hit some, just get warmed up.
Okay,
Ball-wise,
cool.
what are you using at the moment?
I use a Pro V1.
Pro V1.
Yeah.
Some of those there. There we go. All right, I'll let you hit a few just to get warmed up. I'm just going to take some readings with your current irons.
Okay.
Just so we understand how they swing, and then we'll go from there.
Cool.
You having lessons with anybody at the moment?
Yeah. Every like month or so.
Okay. Who's that? Is that somebody from one of the local courses there, or is it online? Or?
Yeah, it's from I forgot what it's called. It's a golf club. He's a pro at that golf club.
Okay.
I've forgotten the name. It's a private one, so I only get to go for the lesson. Abridge, that's it. Abridge.
Okay. Yeah. What are you typically working on together in your game?
It was chipping last time. My irons were sort of, the path and everything was good. Before I went to see him, I was like fatting it quite a lot.
Right.
And sort of changing swing path to come across more than that way in
So are you typically more into out, are you?
Yeah, it was weird. Like when I first started, I was this way.
Yeah.
And then got told to move that way.
Yeah.
And then when I get a bit too much that way, I've sort of learnt to come a bit more that way.
Sure.
To straighten it out a bit.
Yeah. So what would be your,
the miss?
Yeah. What would you miss? Your typical bad shot?
It's like that's a pull, right? Yeah, it's more of a pull.
Sure.
Like, so if I'm aiming at the flag with my short iron,
yeah,
I'm more likely to go a bit left of it.
Okay.
Than to the right of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, what do you? Obviously, I'm guessing straight. Everybody wants to hit a straight ball to a certain extent, but what sort of flight are you now working towards with coach?
It's more of a fade.
If anything, the other way a little bit.
But it's because it's a bit of a softer landing because my balls just hit and then run.
So if anything, flight's a little bit on the low side, spins a little bit on the low side. Okay.
Yeah, and then they run on, so it's hard to stop stuff on greens.
Yeah. All right. Cool. How long have you been playing for now?
Probably about three years or so.
Yeah.
But I used to play when I was younger, like 15. Started when I was 15.
Yeah.
Just with my cousins and that. But now I'm playing quite regularly. Taking it serious, you know?
Yeah, okay. How did you come across precision?
It's one of them things, every time I get fitted, I feel like, oh yeah, it's amazing, I hit this club a bit better. Then I get the clubs, and then they're all right, and I get used to them.
Yeah.
But I always have that thing in my mind, like I only went for 30 minutes, and I've been watching your videos online and stuff.
Yeah.
Come across you like a few years ago.
Yeah.
I didn't want to pay the money then.
Okay.
But now I've been down that road so many times.
Sure.
I want to see what's the diff.
Sure.
Like, is it worth it?
Do you know anybody who's been to us before?
No.
Okay. And with the wedges, are these just ones that you've... what's the combination that you play? Because I see you've got 48 there, 52, 56, 60. Do you play them all?
Yeah.
You do, yeah?
I used to use the 60 a lot around the greens, but now I'm trying to change it up a bit and use more of the clubs, depending on what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got fitted for this one here.
Yeah.
And the 40 something.
The 48?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other are just standard. But I got them reshafted recently.
Okay. So I'm just going to give you the 6 iron here. Kaushal, that's what that's what we'll be using during the testing today, as you've probably seen when you've watched us on YouTube. Again, we just feel like that gives us the best reflection of the top and the bottom end of the bag. You know, if you are going to be going into sort of longer irons here, if we get this iron swinging well for you, then it should trickle into that. You let me know when you're feeling good to go and we'll get cracking.
Yeah, let me hit a couple of the 6. Yeah, I think I'm good.
All right, okay. So let me just get rid of these shots, just as you've been doing, straight down the line for me. Just before we get going, that line that's on the screen, are you happy with that? So when you set up to the ball, are you happy with aligning to that line there?
Yep.
All right, good. So we're just going to go straight down that for me. Anywhere generally in a box from about the tee up to about here is fine to have the ball wherever it feels comfortable.
Okay.
Okay, sure. So what we'll do is we'll hit 6 shots and then we'll go through the data together on the TrackMan.
Okay.
You naturally right-handed?
I'm left-footed, if that makes sense. Yeah, but I am
left-footed.
but right-handed. Yeah.
But right-handed. Okay. Any other sports you've played a lot of? Racket sports?
No, I used to play a lot of football.
A lot of football. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And distance-wise, well-struck 6-iron, what would you be looking at? Do you work off carry or total?
I can't hit the 6-iron, but normally if I hit it really well, because it's the 7 goes about, the best or average?
No, your average. On the golf course, you pull up your bag, you get your laser out, you laser it off. You're on your watch, you get a yardage, and you're thinking that's a 6-iron. What would it typically be?
180.
180, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Come on. 6-iron, man. Okay. Let's do this.
Okay, let's go one more, please,
Yep.
Kaushal, and then we'll start looking at some numbers. Okay. Any of those are particularly felt fairly representative or good swings there?
No, I really don't like my 6-iron, to be honest.
Okay. This is like a bit of a tipping point for you where you feel like
I hardly use it. I might use it off the tee.
Yeah.
But really don't use the 6-iron, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, so first of all, let's just have a little look at specs here in terms of your iron set. So first things first, measuring them up. Obviously, you need to measure the 9-iron there, but it should follow the trend of that. That was D4.3. The first things first that I've noticed is they're half an inch over standard length, or men's standard length, so they are longer than standard. Was that something that was discussed in the original fitting? What was sort of the reason behind going longer for yourself?
So it was with the original set that I had. The ones before these were longer, and it was more like sometimes I gripped down on it.
Right.
Just that was the reason. And then when we changed to standard length, I couldn't really hit it because I was used to the longer. Yeah. But that was the main reason.
Okay. Yeah. No, I was just wondering what the reasons were behind there. I mean, there can be several reasons. It can be obviously taller gentlemen, taller ladies will need longer clubs. Sometimes you've also got dynamics, somebody who sort of stands up during their swing might need longer clubs.
I do that a bit.
A little bit, yeah. So, that might explain why they've gone a little bit longer there. I mean, with that often comes more weight, more swing weight, because obviously we're adding more material, more shaft length, more shaft weight. So that can also make things a bit heavier, make them a bit more hard work. So I guess the first thing I was looking at, before we get stuck into what the actual numbers say, was it just looked to me like maybe they were just a little bit on the heavy side for you. And so you're sort of dragging it through a little bit. I was wondering whether that was more of a length thing or a weight thing. Well, obviously we'll explore both today.
Right.
I'd say from a height perspective, you don't need extra length golf clubs.
Right.
But I totally appreciate that you do grip down them and that sometimes you feel like you might stand up through the action as well. We'll have a little look at your average impact here to see if that is the case.
Okay.
But by going back into something of more of a standard length, so we'd lose about half an inch here, we might go back to half an inch over standard. But I just think it's something that we could explore here just to start with, just to see if going back to standard length allows you to feel like you've got a little bit more control over it.
Yeah.
Losing a little bit of that mass. Other than that, you know, the D4 pretty much flatlined in terms of the swing weight, lengths in a good spot. Loft 31 degrees, you know, relatively weak lofted is what you would say by modern day standards. You'd probably say as an average nowadays, 28 is probably the average 6-iron sort of loft, and then it goes stronger than that as you go into some of the game improvement irons or distance irons. You know, we got some 6-irons on the rack there as strong as sort of 24, 25 degrees. So I'm not saying we need to do that with you, but certainly the T200 and the way you've got this club set up here is definitely on the weaker side in terms of loft. So
yeah, because when I went to get these fitted, I did ask, I want a bit more height.
Okay,
my older ones, it was just so flat.
Yeah.
And again, I can't stop it. I can't stop any of them.
So hence why they've knocked a bit of loft back onto it. Yeah, so I mean, it's all making sense now based on the last fitting you had. A little bit longer, a little bit more loft on the golf club as well, helping you achieve the launch and the spin. So that all kind of makes sense. And that's pretty much what I'm seeing here just from a spec. I just wanted to make sure with you, I wanted to just cross-reference before we got stuck into it that that's what you were expecting. And then let's go into the table. Are you familiar with have you been on a launch monitor before? Are you familiar with your TrackMan numbers? Yeah. When you have your lessons, do you work on TrackMan?
Only one, not all of them. Only once or two.
All right, so I mean, I'll go through these with you. Some of them we might want to stop on and have a bit of a discussion on just things in terms of the actual path of the golf club and face to path. But we've got your club head speed here, so you averaged 82.8. Peaked out there with the last swing, which is a little bit quicker at 85. Yeah. But that would probably suggest to me that you're probably closer to about 83 when you're on the golf course and you're kind of thinking about it, but you have got the ability to step it up a little bit if you want it. Yeah. Then in relation to that, we've got an average ball speed there over the set of 114. Peaked out with your best strike at 119, which was also, as you can see, your longest shot of the bunch there as well at 178 yards carry. Yeah. So that was centred. That would suggest that was a nice centre contact. What I would say is that's quite a strong smash factor. So smash factor is an efficiency rating. Yeah. It's measured out of a maximum 1.50, which we tend to see with the woods, with driver in particular. And then as we come into the irons, obviously ball speeds aren't quite as high. The faces aren't as thin as what they are in the woods. And then you've got the element of spin added into the equation as well. So therefore, within the equation, typically for me, I like to fit to sort of 1.38 to 1.40. If we're getting a really efficient iron setup and we're getting centre contact and the spins in the right place and we're still seeing really good ball speeds, then 1.41, 1.42. Anything above that suggests to me often that we haven't got enough spin on the ball. And that's if I'm running my eyes along there, I'd probably say below 4,000 RPMs for a 6-iron is quite low. Yeah. Kaushal. So that's why the smash is actually very efficient. It looks really efficient, but actually it's kind of flattering to deceive in that it's too low. You know, 4,000 RPMs, you're going to struggle to really get that to stop in the right range. Yeah. And, you know, sort of quickly jumping into the distances here, from a TrackMan perspective, obviously it doesn't go bum stop on the monitor in here. But what we've sort of over the years, what we've sort of seen as an equation is it's about 10 yards is where we want to be. So really 178, I want that maximum distance to be 188. Yeah, that would be the equivalent of drop and stop on the golf course. So as you can see, it's a bit longer than that.
That's always been my thing.
Yeah, it's about 16 yards there, so it's just that little bit too long. So, but you average 1.38, so fairly efficient. You know, when you get hold of it, you do get some good smash. But again, it often comes with a lower spin number as well. So that's telling me straight away, I either need to give you an iron that gives you a bit more initial launch, or something that gives you a bit more spin. Now, again, getting ahead of myself here, but you've got a good angle of attack. You know, you're at minus 3.5. Okay. PJ Tour average would be about minus 4. Right. Some of the guys who really thump it nowadays, you know, like a Brooks Koepka, Taylor Gooch, they tend to be kind of closer to minus 6, minus 7s, but they really hit down on it and lean the shaft, those guys. You know, they're really, really strong iron players. But PJ Tour average minus 4, so where you are there, minus 3.5, you're in a good area. But that sort of angle of attack, that would suggest to me that we should be getting a decent spin number. Yeah. So something within the actual iron setup is probably stopping you from really achieving the spin number that we should be getting to, basically. Yeah. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on that, but there's definitely some room there for us to get that. I mean, that one was a pull, hence why it was a low spin, but that one was a little bit of a pull, but relatively neutral, and that's just still too low, really. So we'll keep an eye on that. You mentioned 180. Well, there's your total yardage of 180, and that would often suggest, probably for you, if we're working off about 15 yards, then that would make sense, really.
Yeah.
And obviously, then occasionally you're going to get that one where you really hit it
hit
out the
what-
screws,
yeah,
and
it's gone.
that's where
Yeah.
you get in trouble. So again, hopefully today we can improve that front to back dispersion for you as well.
Yeah.
Because I feel like when people come in, they talk about left to right dispersion a lot, but that can be a little bit of alignment. And actually, you know, you can be pin high, you can be left and right of the pin, you can be in a good spot. I feel like what really kills scores is front to back dispersion.
Yeah.
You know, if you've got something where you can't quite time it, you're constantly coming up short all the time, or you've got an iron and you've got a set it where when you do hit out the middle, it drops a load of spin and it's
Gone.
10 yards over the back.
Yeah.
That's no good for you either way. So what we're trying to do is really trying to, I mean, these number here, you can see the aggregates, we're trying to really make them as tight as we possibly can. So
What should the spin be with a 6?
So typically I'll fit towards about 5,000 RPM based on, you know, a good angle of attack. And it depends what the golfer is looking for, you know. So I fit towards a mid-ejector in the UK. That's going to play well across all the different sort of golf courses that we play in and the different elements that we play in the UK as well.
Yeah.
If I was fitting somebody in California, they might want a bit more spin.
Yeah.
You know, they might want something that carries it a little bit higher and drops a little bit quicker. But over here, if you're somebody who goes away and one weekend you're playing a links course, next weekend you're coming in and you're playing Woburn, you got an iron that's got to handle both of those conditions. So I like to fit some more of a mid-ejector, and I found with the modern day iron, because they're quite quick nowadays, so ball speeds are up, you need about 5,000 RPMs of spins in a good spot. And then it's at that point, in that perspective, it's down to personal preference, whether somebody wants a little bit more or a little bit less, to be honest with you. I don't tend to want to go less than 5,000.
Yeah.
So you can see that you've averaged 4.4.
Yeah.
That one there was good, but that was a fade away.
Yeah.
That one there, again, it cut away. These are the right sort of spins I want, but we want it on more of that, probably that sort of flight, I would say.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit more neutral, but yeah. So effectively, I need to try and give you, on the average, another sort of 600-700 RPMs of spin, I would say.
Yeah, with the fades, I was trying to hit a fade because it was going too...
It was going too far left. Yeah. And again, you know, that's not in a bad spot. That in terms of, I mean, that's obviously we haven't quite got the ball speed on that particular one there, but let's say that one, for example. Yeah. That pretty much ticks a lot of the boxes. You were talking about 180 as a total, 4.9. That's a nice set of numbers there. I want to try and replicate that more often. In terms of your club path, so you averaged 0 overall, but you had a couple that moved left. So obviously with your TrackMan, anything with a minus number means to the left-hand side. So the club was travelling from out to in across the ball. Yeah, they're probably deliberate by me. And then that one there was a bit more inside. That's well inside, isn't it? Yeah, that was 6 degrees inside, which is probably more than where you'd want to be. Yeah. As a rule, again, anything 2 degrees and under is pretty neutral, I would say, nowadays. Right. But you average 0 overall, but I think, again, really, if I take this one out, the club path was travelling about 1.5 degrees left. Right, interesting. And in relation to that face to path, again, it moved around a little bit. What I'd like to see is like a really consistent set of numbers. I'd like, you know, if you're going to play a little fade, I'd like all these numbers here to be minuses and all these numbers here to be pluses. Right. Again, if we're playing a sort of a tour draw or a tour fade, as a rule, whatever the path number is, I want the face to path number to be half of it. So as an example, let's say this is -2, so the club is travelling across the ball 2 degrees. I'd want this to be a plus 1.0. That means that the ball is pretty much going to fade back onto target based on where we are with angle of attack as well. But that's where I'd like to be with it. Okay. Now, if you want more fade, then this will be higher, this number, or the path will be more to the left. And then we've got dynamic loft. So this is basically the amount of loft that you're presenting to the ball at impact. Again, it's moved around a little bit, but your better strikes, again, that would probably be in the best shot of the bunch, was 20. That's pretty much where I want it to be. Okay. Anywhere between 20 and 22. For guys who want to hit it higher, probably want to see that number at 22. For guys who want to hit it a bit lower, 20 degrees. That's basically how much shaft lean and how much actual loft you present to the ball at impact. Now, bearing in mind, the loft on that golf club's 31. You're taking about, or you're subtracting about 11 degrees of loft off of it. So you're strong in terms of the way that you lean the shaft, which can also be maybe one of the reasons why you're lower on the spin as well. Right. So we're going to have to try and give you a club that sort of helps you out in that regard, Kaushal. But yeah, so moving on from that, we've got dispersion. Again, just would like to try and get that a lot tighter for you. Hit some greens, you know, average UK green sort of 25 to 30 yards. So just inside those two lines there. Yeah. So again, we'd like to see definitely more balls on the middle of the green there. Let's have a little look at impact on the face. Yeah, not bad. Oh. Not bad, not bad. Oh, little bit heel side. not bad.
Not
So
bad.
yeah, so as a rule, you know, if I'm looking at the average on those, pretty much centered. You know, you've averaged 2 mils into the heel and 4 mils high. The height's maybe a fraction high, but we're off a mat here, so that might have something to do with that. But overall, that's pretty good. So you're handling the length pretty well.
Yeah.
Have you just gotten used to that? That could be what that is.
Probably
I'd
is.
still be interested to try and take a little bit off it just to see if we can make this equation a little bit easier for you. But it's quite interesting to see that because at ½ inch over, you are finding the middle of the face. So that's it's not getting in the way in that regard. And then what I want to do now is just show you the optimizer tool. So what this basically does is it takes your club head speed and it gives me this light blue section through here. Now what that's basically, what we're trying to do is get the orange numbers into that light blue section. They're the optimal numbers effectively. So this was the second shot that you hit, which was probably a bit more fade than you wanted, but it was really well struck. It was out in the middle and the spin and everything was in a pretty good window. And you can see there, they're not a million miles away. So I just want to try and see if we can replicate that shot more often.
Right.
Basically, you can see that's not a million miles away there, Kaushal, and you pretty much hit it the distance that you should be, which based on your club head speed of 81.9 on that particular swing, you should be hitting it about 171 yards.
All right.
Now, of course, if we go up to here, where you moved it a bit quicker at 83, I think you had one at 85 as well. It's interesting, it's dropped down a little bit, but it's all based on basically your dynamics. So you're not far off. So I'm not looking to give you additional distance today,
no, I don't.
per se.
Yeah.
I just think I want to try and give you the correct flight.
Yeah, exactly.
And give you a setup which is a bit more consistent for you as well.
Yeah, that's the main thing. It's consistent. I'm not really too worried about distance because I know that with what I play now, I can get to most greens in 2.
Yeah.
But I'm not hitting the green. That's the problem.
Yeah.
So I've got the yardage, but I haven't got the. So off the tee, I can get it, and then it's like maximum. We've been playing off the whites recently, so it's all been longer clubs.
Yeah.
So like 150 in. But I feel like when I'm 150 mark and below, I should be hitting the green. I want to hit the green.
Yeah.
I've got no excuse, really.
Yeah.
That's my own rule. But yeah.
And in terms of, is there any heads that you've looked at that you're interested in trying today, or are you just very much open?
I'm open to whatever. Just makes me more consistent. I'm not really. Obviously, I do like the title. I do like the look of the new Titleist.
Yeah.
But I do like the. Is it Mizuno?
Mizuno do the 225 as well.
Yeah.
Similar sort of look to what you've got there.
Or maybe the tailor-mades, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess my thinking is maybe going with something that's maybe a fraction more forgiving than what the T200 is. Obviously, you're used to that visual, so I don't want to go too far away from that blueprint, but maybe giving you something that's maybe a fraction more forgiving than what the T200 is. We can try the new T200, but I'm thinking about other models, maybe giving you something which, again, isn't going to punish your misstrike quite as much, you know.
But would that help me still get lower figures?
Yeah, I think that's where we've got to make a decision on, you know, if the numbers are really good right now, then maybe you would go away, you'd play with them, you'd work with them for a couple of years, and then you might want to step back into something which is a bit more challenging, because it's this chicken and egg situation. If I can give you something which looks great and it's really challenging, but
no, it's not going to be enjoyable though.
If it's stopping you from getting to the next level, then you're not going to get to the next level, you know. Whereas if I give you something which is going to allow you to become really consistent, work on other elements of your game, become a really confident iron player, then you might want to then choose something as you get down into single digits, 9, 8, 7. You might want to get
as long as they last like a few years, it's okay.
Look, we've got plenty of options, so I'll pull a few off. The shaft is always, in my opinion, the most important thing in the equation. So
yeah, what do you think of these? Do you think they're too heavy?
I think for me, I think the combination of that particular shaft weight, that particular profile of shaft, and then the length, which is ½ an inch over, I think the combination of all things are a little bit on the heavy side.
Yeah.
And I tell you what the telltale sign is for me as a fitter is often if we see something which is out of balance and it's too heavy, I start to see a split dispersion. So what I mean by that, I'll start to see wide right and sort of left as well, low left. And basically what's happening there is, because it's getting stuck, you're either turning through and the face remains, you know, sort of open. So you're into here, you're turning through and the face is there. You can't quite square it up. Or you make a reaction to that. You see a couple of shots go right of green early on, and then all of a sudden you sort of flip that right hand at it.
A lot.
You flash it low left, basically.
Yeah.
So
exactly it.
You start to see this sort of two-way dispersion. There isn't actually technically anything in the middle there.
No, you're right.
So I would like to just drop a bit of weight off, maybe drop a bit of length off, see if we can just make it easier to start with.
Yeah.
We might find just by changing shaft, then we can go into something that looks like a T200 again. Because, because actually the shaft will just help you with the timing of the golf shot. So let me start putting some stuff together.
Okay.
I've got a bit of an idea where we want to go with the heads based on what you've said there, and then.
All right, wicked. I'm going to just have some water.
So this is standard length, 37.5-inch 6-iron. Let's see what you think of that. So it's going to feel a little bit lighter to start with.
Yep.
In terms of dead weight and also swing weight. Just going to put a tag in here for you, Kaushal, very quickly. I'm not thinking about head so much at the moment. All I'm thinking about is I know what the loft on that iron is. It's a little bit stronger than what you're coming from, but we could always bend it a bit weaker. That's not a problem.
Yeah.
What I'm really interested in at the moment is how well the shaft times. So obviously what we're looking for here is really consistent path and face to path numbers, better dispersion. And then once we've really nailed down the shaft, then we can start looking at some different heads. But I think the heads I'm going to look at with you are all going to be on the stronger side. So the spin might be a little bit low from where we want to ideally have it, but we'll keep in the back of our minds that whatever head we decide on, we're probably going to make it a bit weaker to get it to where we want to be anyway.
Cool.
Okay. Cool.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I like the line on it.
Yeah.
It's a bit low on the spin, but I don't mind that. But what I really like there is that shape's great.
Yeah, I don't think I... Oh, out of the centre there. Toey won that one. Toe again. I guess that's the forgiveness there. Straight
Yeah,
down
forgiveness
the
of the
middle.
head. It's quite interesting that they've been toe strike, so we'll keep an eye on that, obviously, from a length perspective.
Oh.
That sounded solid.
Yeah. There we go. Toe again a bit. Still.
So I think what's really interesting straight away is going a bit lighter.
Yeah.
You can see that it's not getting anywhere near as stuck. So dispersion in terms of alignment,
Straight.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Everything actually is within about a 10-yard window there. You know, as in this line here, 5 yards left. This line here is 5 yards right, so it's within a 10-yard fairway. I know there's been a couple of misstrikes there in terms of the toe strikes, but the club is arriving back in terms of you're able to square it up easier with this weight of shaft. Yeah.
Yeah.
But really well.
Yeah, that was me. That's me trying to. I'm changing too much here. Let me just go back to. That's.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Kaushal. How did that feel?
Yeah, no, it feels better already.
Yeah.
It's, feels like I can mess around with it, if that makes sense. Like I could hit.
You can manipulate it.
Yeah, I don't need to go. That one's so hard with the 6. You can't do much.
Yeah.
But this one I could, like if I wanted to, I could hit. I feel like I could straighten that up quite easily. I could just try and do my path a bit more that way. And then try and hold the face rather than shutting it off, because I feel like I'm doing that.
Yeah.
At impact.
Which could be grip size as well, which we'll look at obviously at the back end of the session. But
yeah, because I normally have thicker grips. Well, two.
Couple of wraps. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's, no, I just think it was quite interesting. You know that you're saying it's easy to manipulate, because I always think that's something within a set that has to be appreciated when you come for a fitting. Is that sometimes you're not going to walk out with a set of golf clubs which are absolutely perfect, and you're hitting it. You know, you're not going to hit every shot perfect, right?
Yeah, 100%.
It's just not the way
and
this
all
works.
the lies are so different in golf.
But also in terms of like, you know, you're still walking in here with the same mechanics. What I'm trying to do is optimize what you've got. And, it's just sort of what we're trying to do is help you get to the destination. We're not going to just automatically put you there with a new set of sticks. So I always ask somebody, do you feel like you've got control of it? You know, because there is an element of when you've got the wrong club in your hand, you can almost feel like the club is swinging you. Yeah. Because you have to swing it a particular way just to try and find contact. When you've got the right club in your hands, you're able to make changes with it, which I feel is really important. You know, so like that's quite good, interesting for you to hear that you felt like you did feel like you could just move the path and the face and do this and that.
Yeah, quite easily. Yeah.
That's going to allow you to improve, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think it's worth diving into the numbers, because there was obviously a couple of mishits in there. What I'd like to look at is impact on the face.
Yeah.
Let's have a little look at that. Bit high toe. Pretty good. So not a million miles away.
Yeah. And I reckon that's one of them practice things, I think.
Yeah, you do address it ever so slightly toe side, visually from the back.
Yeah, because it's that I do that because what I found is when I'm too over it, I get stuck a lot.
Yeah.
So what I've decided to do is put it a bit there and then a bit longer arms. Yeah. And then go. So when a couple of them, I thought, wait, let me just go a bit closer. Yeah. Because the club's not as far away.
I wouldn't mind seeing you do that a couple of times, actually, just going back into that closer setup position, the more comfortable setup position.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, because normally I'd be here, but... So, wait.
So that's a little bit more centred. It's a little bit high on the face, still bottomed out a little bit early, but...
Yeah. And then, like, if I want to... Do you want to see another one, or...?
Yeah, let's go one more for me, just with that normal setup position.
Nah, push that one.
Yeah, okay. Again, it's a little bit toe side, so it's telling me that maybe, you know, split between the middle of half an inch over, so about a quarter of an inch over might be where we might want to settle as an actual length for you today. But by going a little bit shorter, we were able to control the swing weight a little bit, so it won't get overpowering and too heavy, I would say. Yeah. Okay. And in terms of head size and the way that looked, what were your thoughts on that?
That looked nice.
Yeah, it's a little bit bigger. So that was the Callaway Apex, just standard Callaway Apex. Little bit blade length, a little bit longer. Top edge a little bit thicker than T200.
I didn't really notice that much. To be honest.
I would say probably as a profile, slightly more forgiving.
Yeah, looks.
You know,
gonna get a lot of club on it.
Yeah,
gonna miss it quite a bit.
All right, let me grab another shaft for you. I felt like that was a good start in terms of the weight.
Yeah.
What do you do work-wise?
Work in IT.
Okay.
Well, I'm a project manager for IT team.
Does that allow you to? Is that from home or are you in the office?
Yeah, we're
or?
fully remote.
Yeah.
So, which is always good.
Yeah. Okay.
I took the half day off. Anyone's looking.
Yeah.
Half day off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Didn't just turn up.
So, I've actually given you a slightly longer shaft here, so feel free to choke down this one a little bit if you want.
Okay.
Stayed around a similar weight. So this is KBS Tour Lite. What I have done here is I've gone into a slightly softer flex or slightly softer frequency, basically, as we would describe it, just to see if that's going to help with the launch a little bit. So let me just put the tag in for you and we'll get going.
Cool.
So it's 38, so this is back to half an inch over standard, but feel free if you do want to choke down it a little bit, do that.
Okay.
And then I'll let you see where you feel comfortable in your setup position, you know.
Yep. I push that one. Toe. Interesting, I'm hitting toe. Nope.
So it's interesting when you go back in, when I give you the additional length.
Yeah.
It just brings in, for me, it brings in that heavy strike.
And that
but
pull.
Also throws off the lines a little bit as well, your swing lines.
And then I have to do more correction, like now because it's going that way, I want to set up slightly different and hit fade. And that's still, would it come back?
No, stay out that one.
Oh,
his face was pretty square on that.
So if I choke down, see what happens.
I just feel like that's a better length.
It is.
I know that's not the shot shape we want per se, but I just feel like going back to the standard length, 37.5 might be where we need to go here. So let me just throw that shaft in the standard length in for you.
Yeah.
That was worth doing because of the balance and the weight of that shaft. It gave me the ability to throw it in at the additional length just to see if it's length or if it is weight, etc. I think we're not a million miles away in terms of the weight.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go a little bit shorter again.
Yeah, it's interesting how that left, straight left, faces, everything's lined up just the wrong direction. I guess that's why I just go straight left.
Yeah, so you're working on that path with coach.
Yeah.
And that shot there just comes where effectively face just squares up rather than it being held off and slightly open.
Toe again. Is that toe?
Mm.
Oh, come on. That toe again. I think that's turned it over, but it's a better strike.
Yeah, so I've gone higher with the balance point here, and I think you can see that it's easier for you to square the face up and get it closed. So to be honest, it's probably a little bit too high balance. I'd probably take it back the other way. But I just wanted to try that profile in the longer shaft.
Okay.
But I'm now going to move it back closer to where we were with the first
Before
one that I gave you.
yeah. Because I can feel the head's just easier to flip over.
All right, that's a Shimada shaft. Called the Nine.
Or was that too quick? Did you do it? Oh,
No, it's all good.
God, man, this too much. Need to change everything. Come on. Again, it doesn't. Again, toe. Not getting the center yet.
More centered.
Is that center?
Closer.
Oh,
You definitely address it out the toe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that because it's longer. All right, let's. Again, that's me. I think this is. It's because of what I'm used to.
Yeah, a little bit, and also here probably maybe just balance and weight just a little bit on the light side. So again, now you're starting to sort of smother it because it's almost too light. So
Okay. Nah. I'm hitting it so much out of the toe. It's because I need to not try and whack it. Okay. Come on. No need to whack it. You just hit it pure. Bit low.
better swing again.
Yeah, it's a bit low in the. Was it?
No.
Felt low.
No, yeah, that was good. It's about 4 grooves up, so in a nice spot, that one. Again, it's come out low in terms of the launch and the spin on it.
Yeah.
I probably prefer the first shaft, the Nippon Neo at the moment, the way that times.
Yeah. They're just trying to whack it so much. Nah.
Yeah, just a little bit too high balance, that one, I would say.
Yeah, just feel like I'm at the end, just like doing that.
Whip through, comes through a little bit too quick, yeah.
Yeah.
Slightly thicker grip on this one.
Okay.
See what you think. I might need to just put a standard grip on there, but that's slightly thicker, so you might actually prefer that.
Yeah.
So I've gone on to the NS Pro series here. 950 in a reg. Just move the balance point down the shaft, basically. So we'll see what you think here. Again, just be aware of making sure you get that ball right out the middle of the face as well. Kaushal, in terms of on the setup, does occasionally creeps into the toe. That was a nice swing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
That was good.
Yeah.
Like that one. Good move.
Okay. Yes.
Yep. Nice combo.
Yeah.
Good. Pretty much where we want to be. We know that's too low.
Yep.
Again, that's a little bit ahead. We haven't quite got the right loft in hand here yet, but just bothered about how this one's timed at the moment.
Oh, love it. I love it there. In that toe. Come on.
Nicely timed. Again, low launch. Not going to have much spin on it, but timed it lovely. How's the weight feeling on this one?
Feels similar to them, but it's not as heavy.
Yeah. Do you think you'd appreciate more weight, or
No, I
quite like it a little bit lighter?
a little bit lighter, but
Yeah.
oh man, so close. Oh no, it's not.
Yeah,
so close.
the only thing that's really killing it at the moment is the toe strike to a certain extent.
Have to go to the other extreme.
Sounded lovely.
Yeah. Oh, still.
Wow, you're really getting that into such a strong dynamic now.
Huh?
Dynamically, you're getting the club into such a strong position.
Just the face.
Yeah, I mean, you've presented 12 degrees aloft there. Really, that's really turned down a lot.
Is that bad or?
Well, it's just not going to give you much flight. There's not. I can't give you a. If I'm looking to try and get that to 20, right? I mean, bearing in mind that the measured loft on here is around 27 degrees on that loft on that club there. So if I'm trying to get that to 20 and you're averaging 12 at the moment, that means I'd need to add 8 degrees of loft onto the golf club, which I'm not going to technically be able to do. So there's a little bit of the mechanical stuff in there. I mean, obviously, because it's come out the toe, that one, it's come out low and not much spin on it. But
compressing.
well, yeah, it's good in terms of if you want to hit a low ball and flight it, it's fantastic for that.
So we want to. No.
I'm just going to drop a little bit more weight in there because that's actually, if anything, quite like the balance of that. But if anything, the weight looks a little bit on the light side. So, see what you think of this one. It's KBS shaft.
Yeah.
S taper or dollar taper, as they also call it. I've gone up to 110 grams here. See what you think of that. Again, still standard length, 37.5 inches.
That sounded nice.
Yeah, nicely timed.
Just face and path with that way. Bit floor first maybe, or not.
Definitely a little bit more centred, it's just a little bit high on the face, but swing lines are nice. Well, that one they actually moved it a little bit in to out.
That I know. Okay. Is that still face his face?
Yeah, covering it a little bit now.
Love that side, don't I? Oh, at least it was in the
Well,
centre there.
because it's coming through quicker now, because you haven't got the weight and the length sort of dragging from behind you. It's coming through, so it's squaring up far easier.
Yeah.
So I think it's more of a change in the feel that you're looking for here. If you want to fade it, the face has got to be open.
Yeah.
Which will also help your dynamic loft number. I think what's happening is you're sort of paths going left and then you're closing the face down and smothering it. You know, your right hand's relatively in a relatively strong position, so it takes a lot of the loft off the club. Whereas really the sensation you probably want is to almost feel like you're just holding it off with the left hand that way. And that will produce a fade. But it will also hold a bit more loft on the golf club as well.
Just not in the centre.
Yeah, that was better. Definitely face there, more open. Contact was a little bit high on the face. It bottomed out a little bit early in the golf swing, but dynamic loft went up from 12 to 17, so it presented more loft on the golf club.
Is it? Did it? No? Close?
Gonna throw the first shaft back in again.
Yeah.
I think that's been the best of the bunch.
Yeah.
Sometimes your instinct just takes you to that shaft straight away. I still think that was probably the best. Played with a little bit of balance, played with a bit of weight, but I'm just going to go back to this now.
Okay.
See if it feels comfortable again. The reason I went into the shaft to start with is because it's designed to have a slightly more active tip and therefore knock the launch and the spin up a little bit comparatively. Right. You still need the right loft on the golf club. This is still a little bit on the low side. Yeah. But what I wanted to give you was a head that is slightly bigger and more forgiving than the T200, just to see how you reacted to it.
Yeah.
Either way, whatever head I give you today, I need to try and get that loft probably to about 30 degrees at the moment.
Right.
I think as your technique develops and you become, there's nothing wrong with being on the strong side, but it just means you're going to flight it slightly lower. So I think that the next thing would be obviously get you in the right length of shaft, get you in the right balance and profile, and then from there, obviously, then we've got to try and find a head with a bit more loft on it for you.
Yeah. Come on. Can't seem to want to hit it.
Just waiting for this to load up here.
Okay.
Kaushal.
Good. You won't have that one.
All right. All good.
It did. I love that. Toe is my home. They should just put all the weight in the toe. Then I can just hit it out of the toe all the time. God! So close, that one. Is that good? Better. Just keep turning over the face, don't I, at the end?
Yeah, I mean, it's the club path's really neutral. I mean, it's a draw pattern. I guess it just depends what shot shape you want to play, Kaushal, because we've turned more towards right to left draw there at the moment.
Yeah, let me just do that.
Again, that's going to be more of a sort of a draw shape, I would have thought.
Yeah.
That's probably where you've come from, I guess.
Yeah.
So if you try and go the other way and you try and exaggerate it with what you're working on with coach at the moment, I just want to see how that looks.
Do you want to see the draw, yeah?
No, not the draw. I want to see the fade.
Okay.
The more neutral swing, basically. That was very much into, out, and closed.
Okay. Oh, is that? I just love turning the face. And does it hit me? Ah, come on. Okay. Oh, there's one. There it is.
Yeah. So that's the shape we're after, right?
Yeah.
So I do feel like you can manipulate this club and you can
Play
time it the best in terms of the shaft. This being the Neo.
Yeah.
This is the first shaft that we tried, and I think looking at it again, it looks comfortable. Interestingly, if you do probably hit it out the middle the most as well. You still have the odd one at the toe, but you seem to find middle strike of it a little bit more.
Yeah.
I just now need to get that launch and that spin up comparatively.
Yeah.
In comparison to that, because that's still low launch, low spin, dynamically in a strong position. Obviously, it's got less loft on than your existing 6-iron head.
Yeah.
So let me put something on there. The problem is there isn't anything really in this part of the market that is lofted in that way.
Right.
That is at 30 degrees. Everything's gone strong now.
Yeah.
But let me see if I can find something and potentially bend it for you.
Okay.
Because even those other heads that I've got on the they're all going to be on the stronger side of loft really for you.
Yeah.
So I've got this Ping here, the I230.
Yeah.
But if anything, it does have a bit more launch and spin than the other models in this part of the market. I'm just going to see if I can add a bit of loft to it as well.
Okay.
They do several specs here. They do a power spec and they do a retro. The retro has lofts closer to where they were sort of 10 years ago, let's say.
Okay. The one.
Okay. So let's check the swing rate as well. So this head comes out a little bit light. Jihaz. Just going to add a little bit of head weight in here.
Okay.
Kaushal, I'll do it via lead tape because it's nice and quick. Trying to get to a swing weight of about D1.5, I think would be quite nice.
And my other ones are
D4 they were.
wow.
Which actually isn't hugely heavy for half an inch over standard. Titleist as a company can do a couple of head weights. Ping can, Mizuno can.
Okay.
Going back over time, they were able to produce lighter head weights. So that would enable us to hit a particular swing weight even when we were building over length golf clubs.
Right.
So actually D4, half an inch over standard for the T200s wasn't too bad there. Okay, I230, a little bit more loft on it. See what you think of that. Still in the Neo. 95.
Head feels heavy. It feels like very heavy at the bottom, but let's see.
Nice shot.
Yeah.
That's probably the shot shape we want.
Yeah. Just got to start out a bit a little more.
Still under control as well.
Floor first a bit. Didn't go anywhere.
Numbers are slowly creeping up here, so 14.3, 4.2 on the spin, dynamic loft up to 18. So I mean, we've been as low as 11 and 12 degrees on the dynamic loft here. That shot shape's definitely helping as well with you controlling the face a bit more, holding it open.
Yeah. too much there, I think. Got a bit more height on. Oh well.
That's a bit of a shame, really, because the contact was great in terms of right out the middle. Just face was just a little bit too open. But other than that, the rest of it, you know, you can see what it does to the spin when you do get that face a bit more open. You get to that dynamic loft number.
Yeah.
So I've got this measured at just below 30 degrees as a measured loft here.
Okay.
All right, get rid of him.
That was shank. No, not shank. Just come on. Oh, that was too right. Started right. Goes right. Bit low. Is that low or?
No, but spin up a little bit. I mean, actually, the contact point's better there in terms of its full back four grooves up.
Yeah.
A little bit heel side, so it's kicked a little bit more spin up on it. Quite where we want it. How's that feeling as a setup and that ping head? How do you feel about that?
Feels really heavy at the bottom.
Mm-hmm. Too heavy? I've got it as a swing weight. It's D1.5, so interestingly enough, it's still nowhere near as heavy as what you've been used to swinging.
Yeah, it just feels like this is super light and then it's all the weights, yeah?
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's a problem, it's just I'll get used to it, I guess. Bit floor first.
Better swing. It's definitely adding that head into the equation and adding a bit more loft. It's definitely got the launch and the spin up comparatively.
Yeah.
You've lost a little bit of carry distance on that as well.
Yeah.
But it's certainly doing the job of giving you a little bit more launch, a little bit more spin. I mean, the rest is probably going to have to come from technique, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter
how much you
to
do.
a certain extent what I put in your hands. You get into such a strong dynamic, Kaushal, that it's one of those things that you just work on with coach. You'd need a launch monitor because you'd need to monitor dynamic loft, basically.
So am I too much?
Too much shaft lean?
Yeah.
Oh, in my opinion, yes, absolutely. Because I mean, you're constantly sort of below the 20-degree mark.
Right. And that's that impact. I'm too.
There's a lot of lean, and then there's a lot of, sometimes you get the face turned down that way, which takes loft off of it as well. But when you're working the club across the ball, like you have done better, so probably the last dozen swings or so, when you get into this number here, you produce a little bit more loft and a little bit more spin. This head as well is helping. It generally offers a bit more launch and a bit more spin, the ping head. So it's kind of doing its job.
Okay.
I'll show you, but certainly some of the earlier swings that I saw dynamically, you can see that it's still a little bit on the low side.
Yeah, that's spin.
Still a little bit on the low side.
What gets spin up then?
Well, generally it would be a couple of things. It would be obviously angle of attack in terms of compression down on it. Yeah. Generally, if you're shallower in terms of your angle of attack, you'll launch it a bit higher, but you'll spin it a little bit less because you're not compressing the ball.
Right.
When you start to compress the ball, so if you take something like a Brooks Koepka, for example, who really leans the shaft, he's quite aggressively down, takes big divots. His launch will be lower, but his spin will be higher, so he'll start to compress the ball more spin, uses a slightly spinnier ball because of that as well. but then he launches it low. Now, the difference with the tour guys is they're pumping so much velocity through the ball.
You can't really
so his ball speed could be anywhere, depending on what iron he's hitting, but he could get up all the way up to sort of 140 ball speed. So when you start pumping that much velocity through it, you naturally, you can afford to launch it lower, or you can afford a little less spin. Those guys obviously want spin because they want to be able to stop the ball on the firmer surfaces that they tend to play on, and they want to be able to hit it really high so they can get it to drop down to particularly hard flags that are tucked away. When you're maxed out, your ball speed sort of, if we're looking at the numbers here, when you're sort of maxed out here, you've got you've had a 120, but that's probably the best strike of the bunch. And again, you can afford to have that sort of 4-5 spin. So if I put that particular shot there in the optimizer, which was that one there basically, which is the longest of the bunch that you've hit, you can see ball speed's in the right area, but the launch and spin are still a little bit on the low side.
Yeah.
The spin loft is still on the lower side as well. So it's telling me that two different ways around it basically. I could give you a club with quite a lot of loft on it, but then we do start to play with the visual look of it. Or you do a little bit of technique work where you're actually technically trying to hit the ball higher, and that will help you in regards to achieving that sort of bit more loft, bit more spin, bit more peak height basically. If you had to hit a higher shot, what would that look like? Let's say if you did have trees in front of you, that you could get over, but if you had trees in front of you that you had to hit the ball up and over, what kind of changes would you make in setup to get there?
I normally put it a bit more forward in my stance.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, let's have a little look at that.
No, that just goes left. Come on, Kaushal. All right. All right. Is that higher?
No, technically not. I mean, the peak height stayed at 77 feet, which is kind of where it was before. So it hasn't peaked out any higher.
Interesting.
I think because it was a slight pull, it knocked the spin off of it again. So the spin dropped from sort of 4.6 on that good shot. It's dropped down to 4,000 there. That was definitely higher. That was a nice contact as well, that one. Yeah. So I mean that's a different shot there, Kaushal. Obviously it's a different shape altogether, but
yeah.
One, it was right out the middle of the face, so ball speed's high, angle of attack there slightly shallower, so your launch has gone up. You've been sort of around 14 degrees today. It's gone up to 18, and although you haven't got the your spin there is slightly lower, because the angle of attack, because the launch angle is higher, your peak height's gone up. So you were about 77, that one there, 104 feet. So that's definitely crept up. So as a feel, that's what I would obviously encourage you to do. But then we'd want to try and bring dispersion back in again.
Yeah, that's what I was doing.
What is good is that you're able to make change with this shaft, with this club. What would be interesting is trying to get you to make the same change with your existing club.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. But let's see a couple here, because I'd really like to see you
just higher, yeah?
Yeah, higher, just like that, but just straight down the line for me. Easier said than done, I know. Yep. Nice effort, that one. Okay, so now we're starting to, again, bit of a drop kick in terms of the contact, so the spin rate wasn't there, but good ball speed, launches up, which compensates for the spin a bit.
Yeah.
And height is at 86 feet, so it's about 11 feet or 10 feet higher than where you were previously as an average. So now we're starting to see a bit of flight, and that's visibly on the screen. That's visibly
you can
higher.
see that's much higher.
So you can definitely make the change, the mechanical change, which is good. And I'd probably encourage you to do that for at least practice like that for a little while. Whether you take it to the golf course, there's always an element of comfort when you go on the course. You want to play the shots that you feel comfortable with. But that being said, I think if you practice the shots that you need to be able to take to the course, ultimately that you want to execute, I would say to you want to practice hitting the ball higher. A good drill for you would be a pair of rugby posts, trying to feel like you're hit the conversion through the posts, you know, hit it over the top of that centre bar, through the middle of the post there, just visualise that. That should allow you to sort of start getting into more of that optimal range there. And where you're going to really notice that is 6 iron, 5 iron, 4 iron, where you need to be able to flight it, you know, to get something out of these ones.
Could I try and do that with one of these heads or not?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Did you want me to put the Apex back on, or?
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, these are all, I can put the T200 on for you. These are all stronger lofted again. So they're sort of working against you to a certain extent. Now, I could probably get as much as maybe 1-2 degrees out of them in terms of bending them.
Yeah.
Especially if we're going for something which is a forged design, but I wouldn't want to go any more than that, because then it starts to really play with the amount of offset that you've got on the golf club. So it starts to look a bit funky. So, but let me throw this on, see what you think. This is the latest version, T200.
Yeah.
And then I want you to just try and do that same mechanic for me if you can.
Yeah. That's what I was doing before, to get a bit more height. And then my coach was like, the ball's going a bit too far forward.
Yeah.
But I just feel like I can go for it more.
Okay. I think there's a combination of the way you're doing it is obviously moving the ball forward in your stance, but a bit of a combination of feeling like you're ultimately adding the loft rather than sort of covering it that way, obviously without messing up the timing too much. Yeah.
This just feels like...
Yeah, comfort.
Yeah.
Okay.
Feels like I'm at home. Just need to get it straighter. Flatter that one. Straighter.
Yeah, obviously we're playing around with the timing here a little bit, so contacts might be a little bit variable, but the alignment's really good here, and it has been pretty good since we put the Neo in play.
Yeah.
Slightly heavy again.
Bit heavy. Still all right. Oh.
How's that feel comparatively to the Ping and the Apex that you've hit so far?
This feels nice.
Yeah.
Feels really nice. Light and
almost like a bit of a sideways step to...
Yeah. The others feel really... Apex feel all right, but the Ping's just, the head's so heavy.
Yeah.
Oops.
I think a little bit of that probably comes from where I've had to add the lead tape onto the head.
Yeah.
I think ultimately the final build, if we went with something like the Ping, based on if you went bigger with the grip, I wouldn't have to, not as much weight would have to be added into the head, and then it's where it would be added on the head makes a difference as well. I was just having to stick lead tape purely behind sort of the sweet spot, so that does throw a bit more of the weight down. It'll feel like it's right at the end of the club.
Oh, beautiful.
Sounding good?
Yeah, it's a beautiful one.
Yeah, so again, because the angle of attack's now a bit shallower, you can see launches up, spins down,
Yeah.
But peak height 97, which is about perfect. So
It's
that's definitely where I'd like to take you from a technical perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's all kinds of different ways of creating height.
But is there anything wrong with creating height like that?
No, because there's nothing wrong with being on the shallower side and doing it that way. What it typically means is that your launch will go up, but your spin will stay relatively low because you're not compressing it, if that makes sense.
Right.
So for you, at your sort of ball speed, that's not a bad way to do it.
Right.
And as you can still see, you still deliver the golf club relatively strong. I mean, I haven't obviously moved the loft on this golf club, so I would still give you more loft on the golf club,
Yeah.
which would therefore give you more launch and spin. But you can see you've now moved that peak height into the right area there. So you do have the ability to do it. I think the shaft is doing quite a good job of sort of working underneath and dynamically trying to help you. But I'd still need to add loft onto the golf club to ultimately get you to where we need you to be, you know.
And the length is like, this one's different as well, right?
Yeah, half an inch. So again, it's something that as you got into the session and you've sort of gotten used to that.
Yeah, I've been hitting it better.
I mean, that there you can see right at the middle of the bat. That was,
oh, beautiful.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Great feeling head, that T200. I could make this work for you. I'll show you where the specs are.
Is this is this new head or old head?
No, Strixon's one of the latest versions of it, the ZX5. Again, it's on the stronger side of launch. I think as I've continued to fit and I've seen that with the shaft, it's not doing quite enough. It's become really important that I get the right loft on the golf club mount in terms of I really need to give you about 30, 31 degrees of loft, which is obviously what the guys did. The problem is with that, I'd really have to bend that quite a long way to get that there. So I'm now having to look at heads that are a little bit closer to that already. I'll show you what I mean. Or something like a Ping, which is kind of designed to produce a bit more launch, a bit more spin. It's not super thin-faced, and it's not something that's going to knock spin off the ball naturally. So I'll show you where these are. So it's currently 27 degrees, so I could probably get away with bending it maybe 2 degrees weak, so I could get it to 29, which would be a nice middle point. Now, when you talk about have a 9 that you would move forwards with, again, this gives you the ability over time to bend it back to neutral, which would be 27 if you wanted it. And then obviously you might get to a stage where if you've really nailed down your technique, you might be like, actually, I want a shaft now that doesn't knock it up. I want a shaft that brings it down the other way, right?
Yeah.
But at the moment, you're still in the area where I need to give you something which helps you launch and spin the ball a little bit more, because the spin in your case is actually going to help you give you more control in your game.
Right.
There's a lot of talk about low spin in the golf industry, but actually you can not have enough of it sometimes, especially with drivers, you know. And what that happens is the ball comes out of the air very quickly and it shapes a bit too much. So
with more spin or less spin?
With less spin, more often than not, yeah. If you haven't got enough of it at a particular velocity. So I think for you, giving you more spin would give you more control as well. I think that would allow you to hit more greens.
Would I change the ball then?
Well, you could change the ball as well. We could go to something that spins a little bit more, so probably Pro V1X with the irons. It's going to give you a little bit more initial launch and spin, so I don't think that would be a bad sort of bad option. You know, you've got your Z-Star Diamonds there as well. Might be worth giving those a go. And I know the Mizuno ball spins quite a lot. I have to check if you've got some of those next door, but the latest Mizuno ball spins quite a lot as well. So something like that for the time being, whilst you're working on it, and then you could go the other way. Yeah,
because do you reckon? So what do you think then? Because is there much difference between these and them?
Well, only the shaft.
Yeah, shaft.
Obviously, from head to head, some subtle changes in the Titleist family. But if you put them down side by side,
can't even see anything.
Very similar, right? In terms of the profile and in terms of the golf that they're aimed at as well, they're pretty similar. But I think the main change here is the shaft. You know, obviously from the AMT black that you're working with there to this NS Pro Neo 950.
Yeah.
This and the combination of the length as well. Obviously, I think they're enabling you to move the golf club more neutrally and you're able to manipulate it a bit more, whereas with that one, you're sort of forced to swing it a particular way, get that sort of left and right dispersion, sort of short right, long left.
This feels so heavy now.
So although the heads are the same, they're not the same beast. They're different in design, you know, and they're going to do a slightly different job for you. So I do feel like there's an actual change here with this, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah. Ball wise, let me just dot a couple of these up. Be interested to get you to hit some of these as well. These diamonds.
Okay. But the ping head, is it a good head? Is this? Just feels really
you know, look,
heavy.
They're all good heads. They're all good heads. I mean, what
Will I be able to grow in this though?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, you know, you've got guys like Tyrrell Hatton playing that head. You know, back to play on the Ryder Cup team. He's been a ping guy all of his career so far. Somebody like a Lee Westwood would play this head as well. So the I Series, you know, there are plenty of guys playing this on tour. I think Victor Hovland also has this in the bag as well. He moves around a little bit, but I'm pretty sure he's an I-230 guy as well. So yeah, there's guys on tour playing this. So yeah, absolutely. I think some people always think that it needs to be blade-like to be seen as a progression, but yeah.
As long as it can live with me for at least 2 years. That's the main thing.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely. As I say, you've got plenty of top players playing the I Series at an elite level. So yeah, absolutely. I mean, that one would be the one that would probably do the best job for you from a launch and spin perspective. Okay. If you preferred the feel and the look of the T200, then this would be the option as well. And then obviously you've got your Apex as well, which I could bend a couple of degrees weak, get it to a similar sort of loft as what I would do on the T200. But the ping by design, in terms of its designs, give a little bit more launch, a little bit more spin than these other heads it's up against.
What numbers was I getting though compared that with that when I was hitting it, like trying to put it up there?
Yeah, let's have a little look. I mean, there's going to be some shots I'll have to take out purely just because we were doing a bit of manipulation with the ping as well. So
best.
Just bear with me. There we go. So if I take out these first couple here, for example. Let's keep them in because actually. Taper shaft, get rid of the 950, get rid of the Shimada, get rid of the Tour Lite. Sort of the original set that we hit with the so if we're looking at it from numbers to numbers, this is where we were originally with yours.
Yeah.
So 69.45, as we've sort of identified since then, actually, the loft on the golf club that you've got is probably about correct. 31 degrees is where we need to be, pretty much. Then we went into the Neo, which definitely, from a numbers perspective, was a bit lower on spin, but actually, when we went in and we had a look at the dispersion, was better. Yeah. It wasn't quite as heavy, wasn't as long, so you weren't getting that left and right dispersion. It was a bit more centred. Numbers we knew weren't going to be perfect because the Apex didn't have enough loft on it, hence why the launch and the spin were down. But it was doing a pretty good job for us there. And then we continued with the Apex heads there, and then we moved into the ping head here. So again, this was now at 29 degrees, so a little bit more loft than where we were with the Apex. Launch was up a little bit. Spin was still marginally down, but it did ask you to start hitting some of these a little bit on the higher side as well. So the angle of attack became a little, you can see, shallower, and same with the T200 there. Yeah. So that is the way that you create your additional launch. Not so much spin, but additional launch. So the way you hit the ball higher is you move up in your stance and you become shallower on it. Yeah. And it just hits you launch the ball higher, basically, is how you do it. Again, nothing wrong with that. That's just how you do it.
How I can do it,
Yeah, some people hit down on it more, create more spin. That creates more lift that way. It just depends. But so if I open these up, so club head speed a little bit more with the T200. Again, could just be
feels at home.
The series of swings as well that we were looking at. So ball speed's gone with it. Nice and efficient. You're always going to be on the higher side of smash, as we discussed earlier on, because your spin's lower, so everything's seen as more efficient, right? And then there's no real comparison in terms of carry distance. You've been longer with the T200s. Look at the dispersion. Unfortunately, we've got two in there at yellow, but let me
could I hit like 3 of them and then just hit 3 of them, and then you can do it that way, doing the same technique?
Yeah, I think so, because we've been moving stuff about, right? I've been asking you to hit it higher, I've been asking you to hit fades. I think now we've pretty much settled on the shaft.
Yeah, we're good
and
with the
I think
shaft.
there's a couple of heads here that we can work with. Probably not the Strixon's, probably going to be a little bit on the strong side because it's quite a strong head that anyway. But wouldn't be a million miles away with those two.
So should I hit 3 of them?
Yeah. In terms of the Mizuno heads, you've got the 225, but again, it's quite strong in terms of off the face. 223, I think, would be a little bit on the smaller side. So not sure whether it's worth throwing those in. And then the JPX forged head, again, great head, but it's quite strong in terms of its spin and its ball speed. Just not sure it would necessarily fit the bill here. So I don't think we're a million miles away with these two heads.
Could I try the Mizuno because they do look nice?
Yeah, the 225.
Yeah, is that
yeah,
right?
yeah. But the thing is, it's just going to be too low launch and spin. So I can bend it again.
No, don't bend it. Just let's see how it comes off. Because the more we bend it, the less it's going to look different, isn't it?
Yeah. Good head, similar sort of look to the T200.
Yeah. Just they look pretty. And the tailor-made would be too strong as well, the heads.
Again, 790 definitely too strong. 770 it's not as strong in terms of its dynamics as the 790, but I'd probably say these heads were going to give you a better blend of a bit more forgiveness.
Okay.
And the dynamics that we're after. I have put those Strixons in there, so we use those.
Yeah, so we got that for extra spin and then see what happens with the height.
Okay, so 225. All right, see what you think. I mean, really good head this. I really like it as a head. It's just whether it's going to be...
Good enough.
Well, yeah, it's just going to be a little bit too strong in loft, so launch and spin. Again, you could probably get 2 degrees out of this if we were to bend it for you.
Okay.
Good swing. A little bit heely, but...
Not too bad off target. Fat one. Not getting over there. Come on. No loud 3. Let's go.
Nice. A little bit more launch, a little bit more spin.
It's better.
Yeah. It's more where we want it. So I think as you work on that dynamic as well, that's going to get you into better position here. So the potential is there with the setup, for sure. I think the shaft's doing a good job now. You're looking at more at home with it. We're starting to find straighter dispersion.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is what we want. That was kind of the brief at the start, was more consistency, hit more greens. I think in terms of the height, that will be a little bit of a case of you working with the club to identify
how I can get it up.
Yeah, and whether you do it on the TrackMan or just even visibly on the range, you'll be able to see the difference of how high something is launching and spinning. So.
Okay. See what. Because the ball will also add a bit more spin, I guess.
So I'm going to put the ping back on.
Yeah.
All you got to make sure is when you put the Strixons down, just make sure there's a metallic dot on there. Just make sure it's facing up for me, if that's all right.
Yeah.
Kaushal, that just helps the TrackMan just read the spin on it. Lovely, thanks.
Yeah.
Okay. See how this one feels again. Come back into it.
Makes a sound, doesn't it? But I hit the floor there. That made a sound. How did that go? It was a bad hit. 153. Okay. Rolled out there. Ah. Nah.
Haven't hit this one quite as well second time round.
Nah. Give it one more go. It's interesting, isn't it? How it's just that it just feels so heavy in the head.
Okay.
Guess that does matter to me.
Better swing.
Yeah.
Bit more spin to it.
Yeah, I think. So that's still come up there and faded.
Yeah.
Interesting.
At the heel.
Yeah.
Typically, you'd see
Oh,
more fade at the heel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Typically, it'd be at toe strikes, which would produce more sort of draw. Yeah. Because of the gearing effect. Okay, there's the T200.
Just feels so.
That'll work.
Yeah, it just feels. Yeah.
So that's, that's got a great combination there. Really good ball speed. Again, slightly low on the spin, but we can live with that because now the launch is up comparatively. This is before I've made any changes to the loft on it, right? Put it into the optimizer. As I say,
It's just that.
these three numbers work in tandem, the combination of ball speed, launch and spin, right? So if you've got more of one, you can afford a little less of the other,
right.
as a rule. Because you've got good ball speed and launch, you can afford a little less spin, you can still see your peak heights good.
Yeah.
So then your descent angle will still be playable. That's gone 182 through the air, it's gone 193 total, so that's getting close to that 10-yard rule that we spoke about at the start.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
good.
It just feels like don't have to try as much. Maybe I'm just used to it. That was great. Oops.
Again, that's not a bad performer based on the strike point.
Yeah.
That'd be one thing that, Titleist would say that they've improved across from series to series would be that little bit of MOI, moment of inertia out the head. A bit more stable now in the latest model for you.
Yeah.
Similar sort of with the
'Cause
100s and the 150s.
Just went back onto target, luckily.
Yeah.
Face was open a bit there. Oh, was it? Was it?
Yeah, a little bit closed. So again, that's where it drops that dynamic loft and therefore it drops that spin down. But I think you know now what you've got to do to hit the ball higher. And
Yeah.
that shot's great in the wind. If you had a par 3 into the wind and you needed to flight it, perfect. But if you were downwind or if you're playing onto firm greens, I'd prefer you to go the other way and flight it up and give it that initial launch and try and hit it higher. That'd be the way I'd like you to hit it. And I think moving forwards, if you practice that'll bleed into your game on the golf course and it will be better.
Yeah. Cool. Should I try a couple with mine then?
Yeah, you can do. Yeah, absolutely. I think it'd be worthwhile, just to feel the difference now, because even if we don't get to perfect numbers today, what I think quite interesting about that is, you've got a club there that you can manipulate. You have been able to hit it higher. You have been able to change your path into out to in. I feel that, you know, when people talk about coming for a fitting, you know, we're not looking to always present the perfect solution here and now, but we are looking to give you a tool that you can go away and work with.
Yeah, 100%.
And I do feel like this would be more workable for you moving forwards and allow you to take those next steps in your game, rather than maybe where you are with that.
These, yeah.
A bit longer, a bit heavier, a bit stiffer.
Yeah.
Yes, they've got the right loft on them, but I think there's other elements of the shaft and the build that are making you have to swing it a particular way.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like you're able to, you're more in control of that as a setup. Yeah. Head-wise, I can get any of the heads to the loft. That's going to help you, to be completely honest with you. So I'm not as concerned about. And with a bit of change in technique, they all become relevant quite quickly. So I think it's more down to you, what you like the look and the feel of, which one you prefer to go. Obviously, you played Titleist in the past, great feeling iron. Same with the 225, great feeling iron. I230 is a little bit more there already because of its dynamics, but you don't like the feel of it as much and the look of it so much. So probably moving that out of the equation a bit more. So it's probably between those two heads, I'd say.
Yeah. Is it alright to hit this one?
Yeah, I've got that all set up for you. Yeah. That one. Definitely straighter dispersion with the neo shafting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Still got the odd one which we're going to cover or we're going to leave out to the right,
Yeah,
but I just feel like on your better swings, we're seeing that sort of a flight now with it.
Yeah.
Just covered it there.
Yeah. There's that one I don't want. With the other ones, I've not been really, well, I have, but when I've been trying to push it out right. Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense.
What are your thoughts between that and the...
I think like the different build is going to help me.
You thinking Titleist or are you thinking Mizuno?
Oh, I don't know. All depends on the price now, I guess.
Yeah. Well, we can price both options up for you. I mean, my initial...
Yeah, go on.
You want to hit this again?
Yeah, is that right?
My initial thought was to go more towards that.
Because that just feels... I like the look of it at the ball, but that looks good as well. You can't really tell.
As I say, whatever the head is, I'd want to go 2 degrees weaker with the loft than where they are right now. So just to sort of show you. So you got your T200, 27 degrees.
Yeah.
And then in the Mizuno, you're at 27 degrees again. So bend them both 2 degrees weak, get to 29.
Yeah.
So again, they're still not quite as weak as where your T200s are.
Yeah.
But they're getting there. And then the combination of that and the shaft and the length, I think.
We're good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that pulled a bit? Yep.
But I almost expect to see that when you come back from your club. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's a little bit lighter, a little bit easier, so all of a sudden you're finding it so much easier to sort of...
That hit the line, but it's going to go left, isn't it? Hi. Yep, because I get it. Oops. Did you think this ball would benefit as well?
Yeah, I think any of the spinnier designs, definitely something for you to do a bit of testing with as well.
Yeah.
What I'd say when it comes down to balls is, you know, ultimately you're going to get the most performance out of it around the greens.
Yeah.
You know, so I would always test a ball from the green backwards. Personally, obviously we want to try and get your spin in the right area with your irons and your driver, etc. But ultimately the scoring part of the game, the short game, it's got to put well, it's got to chip well. I would always test a ball from the green backwards personally, you know.
Okay. Nice one, come on. Hit a good one. That should come back on. No, left it out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's.
I think the Titleist.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think ultimately. Oh, you know, also visually, you're used to the head, but I think we just made some subtle changes there in terms of the length and the weight of shaft and the profile of shaft. Most importantly, I think based on that, that'll give you the data that you're after pretty much.
Okay.
I think it would just make it easy for you to make your next changes in your golf game as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Lie angle wise, I mean, they've been at standard. Might just do a couple more swings with just with the Titleist just to test lie angle, and then we'll have a discussion about wedges.
Yeah.
And what we want to do there, because obviously you've got some latest SM9s there, so it's going to be really what you want to do.
Yeah, they're all longer as well. So
Yeah.
Oh, these are my old ones. Just have to start holding a bit lower.
Well, we can take length off. That's not a problem. We were able to do that, so it could be just a case of I want to have a little look at technique and see where the bounces and the grinds are, but it could just be we need to just shorten them up and.
Yeah, cool.
If they still looks like there's plenty of life left in the heads, so
yeah,
it doesn't look like there's a head change required, unless I feel like the grind and the bounce aren't doing you any favours. But we can have a discussion on that.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do here is just draw a line on the.
So how do you want me to hit it? Just high launch or what?
Yeah, just your normal
high one.
The way you've been doing it last couple of swings for me, please. Okay, that should be great. Pretty good. I don't think it's going to be a million miles away because I do feel like when you put your best swings on it today, it's been pretty neutral.
Okay. Oh, that's gonna not be a good one. Do you need to do a? Is it on the line, or do you need to do it again?
It's all right. I've done a new one here for you.
Okay. Come on. Oh, beauty. There we go.
Yep. Nice one to finish on. Okay, so we're looking for them to just be straight up the face.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean obviously that one's slightly toe strike there, so.
That was the one I.
Yeah, but if we sort of take him out of the equation, the rest of them are pretty much straight up the face, so I'd stick on where that is currently at the moment.
What's the lie angles of mine currently? Do you know?
So you had, when I measured your 6-iron, it was at 61, which is a little bit on the flatter side for Titleist.
Okay.
Titleist at the moment, as you'll be able to see here, they're averaging around 62.5 for their 6 irons. Yours is a little bit flatter.
And what does that promote?
A couple of different things. Obviously, it depends on the dynamics. So they've done a dynamic one for you, but the other thing is because your club is longer, it also plays more upright because the longer a club is, the more upright it plays. So they might have compensated for that by going a little bit flatter.
Right, interesting.
Yeah. So, but hard to say based on when you did your dynamic test last time, what they were seeing. But going a little bit shorter, we've gone a little bit more upright again, comparatively to where your existing set is, but we're pretty much bang on standard with that one there, 62.5.
Okay. Cool.
In terms of the composition, what are you thinking about for your top iron?
6.
6, yeah?
Yeah. Because hybrid goes about 190
Yeah.
on a good day. Then I want something to go about 180, which is 178, you know.
Yeah.
Rolls out. They're not going to be using. Well, yeah. Well, even a 6. Does a 6? I don't even like the 6 to be honest, but got to use it, don't I?
Yeah, I'd say definitely go to 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Now it brings us on to like wedges. So obviously you've got your. Did you buy the 48 degree because you felt that there was a bit of a gap between the pitching wedge and the 52? Was it?
Yeah. So I've always had the 52.
Yeah.
And then I got fitted for these two.
The 48 and the 60.
And I just bought that one off eBay.
Yeah. And how have you found using them?
Yeah, I don't really go full shots anymore.
No.
But this one goes 115.
Yeah.
Pitching wedge been going about 125.
Yeah. Okay. So there's.
And then that 52 goes 100. And the 56 I just use depending on the lie, and the 60 I don't really do full shots anymore. But if I've got like over 90, I'll tend towards the 56. And then anything under 90, depending on what it is, I'll use the 60 if I want to get it up there and drop, because I don't get a lot of height, as you know.
And obviously with the fitting, what was the thought behind going? You've got the L grind in the 60. What was the thought behind going into the L grind? Relatively, so I could
open it up a bit more.
Yeah, sure. And how have you found that? Has it been as a performer?
I don't really do that much, to be honest.
Yeah.
But in the bunker, I will open up quite a bit lately.
Yeah.
And then slapping it more. So I use that one out the bunker as well.
Yeah. Okay. I guess the only thing I would probably say here, and we could probably almost lose one of the wedges, I feel like we can use the existing components. We can probably bring them back down to more of a standard length because they are longer.
Yeah.
The 48 is perfectly fine. You could use it as a gap wedge. As you can see from the T200s, basically their current pitching wedge is 43, and then they have their wedge one, or their gap wedge as they call it, is at 48. Now, obviously we're adding 2 degrees of loft to the club, so that's going to be 45.
Yeah.
So I'd probably be inclined to move that 2 degrees as well, which would be this one. So then, therefore, it'd be a 48 playing at 50.
Right. So that would be a 50.
That'd be 50. Therefore, I don't necessarily think you would need the 52 in anymore.
Right.
And then you would go to more of a combination of, you would go 50, either 55 or 56, and then 60. If you kept it, if you went to 55, then you'd have 5 degree increments, obviously, between the 3 clubs then.
Would I not just drop the wedge there then? What's the W one?
Yeah, the wedge one. Well,
yeah.
I haven't put that in. I'm basing it on you going 6 iron through to pitch and wedge.
Yeah.
Now, you could go to the wedge one, at which point you would get rid of...
Oh, no.
You'd get rid of him, but if you prefer... get rid of the 48, but if you prefer the feel of the Vokey, which, don't get wrong, it's going to give you more feedback probably than what the T200 gap wedge would do, then I'd be inclined to keep the gapping in the set correct.
Yeah.
I'd be inclined to knock that back 2 degrees as well. So
Okay.
play at 50.
Okay. Yeah.
Now again, depending on how well you get on with that particular golf club, we could also reshaft it with the shaft that's going into the irons.
Yeah, because I pull this left as well.
You pull this left, yeah. So at which point we would go a little bit shorter.
Yeah.
We would reshaft the existing head, and we go from 48 to 50. So then that would fill in the gap here.
Yeah, that would sort that out.
And then technically you don't need the 52 at that point, because you don't need to go 50, 52. Yeah, well, you know, keep it as a practice club, a chipping club. But I'd be inclined to probably then keep the 56 in, either keep that at 56 or bend it to 55, depending on where your gapping is.
Yeah.
Again, we'd have to obviously shorten that one up. And then this one, same again, we'd shorten it up, keep it at 60. You've got a nice dynamic combination of bouncers on there. So you've got L grind, S grind, and then the F grind, which is the fuller sole.
Yeah.
So you've got plenty of ammunition to play across different conditions in the UK. Relatively low bounce on the L grind, although having said that, it probably plays with more bounce than what it says, which is 4 degrees in the L. But it's really designed at a golfer who likes to open it up and manipulate it. You know, somebody like Jordan Spieth plays an L grind, or he bounces between sort of T grind and L grind. He plays it because he obviously likes to really manipulate his 60, and then he goes to a S grind in his 56 like you do. Because it's quite nice to have something with a fuller sole and then something with the sole that enables you to manipulate it.
Right.
So I actually quite like the combinations that you've got here. It would just be a case of we can hit some shots off the board and just see if the L grind is relevant for you. But you might say, well, Nick, it's not that old, I want to keep it. At which point, absolutely no problems with that. I'd be more inclined to just try and get it into the right spec for you. So make it a bit shorter.
Okay. And
then go from there. I don't know how that sounds to you, but you've got relatively new heads here. They haven't really seen that much action, have they really?
No.
So I don't feel like we need to go and
different wedges now.
No, not really. I think we just need to get what we've got here. We need to get them working. I mean, that's almost if you polished it up, it could pass as not new, but not far off, right? So I don't think we need to look at new heads per se. Nothing wrong with the Vokeys that you've got here. They're still top dog in the market, so to speak, in the wedge market.
Okay.
I just think we need to just get them into the right spec for you.
Okay.
So does that make sense in terms of what we want to do with that 48? So how far do you currently hit the 48? 115, did you say? So if anything, you'd probably be taking a little bit of yardage off that.
Because then it would eat into the 52, right? So. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're going to fill that gap a little bit.
Okay.
But then I would probably expect you, because we're going to have a better spin number and launch number out of the pitching wedge, I'd probably expect that to be a little bit. I think your numbers might be ever so slightly shorter across the bag,
right?
But from the benefit of better flight, more control, being able to stop the ball.
That's fine.
Going to hit more greens, I would say. As you become more confident, you start pumping more ball speed through them.
Yeah.
Then I think the distance comes back.
Okay.
When strike improves, do you know what I mean? So I think for the time being, I think going into 50, it would probably come back, probably 110, 112 maybe. So you're going to lose maybe half a club out of the 48. But I think it's going to sit in quite a nice gap for you there then.
Okay.
And what are your thoughts on the 50, the 56? In terms of what yardage do you hit that? How would it relate?
I don't really go full out that one, but I'd like it for an 80 yarder.
Yeah.
I know I can pump it. But I'd rather.
So how far do you hit it at the moment?
Full.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I've whacked it a couple of times to like 100.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So so I mean that where it sits then at 56, that would sit in quite nicely. If it went to 100, it would sit in quite nicely with where the new 50 would be.
Yeah.
But I totally appreciate you saying that you don't really tend to hit it flat out. You would probably manipulate a 50 and hit a 3/4 50, right? So
yeah.
Okay. So if anything, I'd probably keep that there then.
Yeah.
55 to 50, 60. I'd probably like to go to 55 if I'm completely honest, because I think that just sits
5,
right in the middle.
5, yeah.
Yeah. It keeps
you can
the gap
bend
in
that.
Nice. Yeah, we can bend all these. Yeah.
Okay.
Loft-wise, no problem bending these. And then 60.
Yeah.
Keep it at 60.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me just check spec-wise what they're all currently at, just to make sure they're where they should be. I'll check the 52 as well for you.
Cool. Cheers.
Does that all kind of make sense there?
Yeah.
So
Clear.
it's playing at 61. It's playing with a bit more loft.
Okay.
But not necessarily a bad thing as well, because it gives it a little bit more bounce in the L grind. 62.5, so it's a little bit flat comparatively, but what I'd probably say to do is if we were going to do the work on the wedges in terms of making them shorter and changing the shaft over, I'd be inclined to probably do the loft and lie at the time.
Yeah.
If you came back to collect them,
yeah,
we'd hit them and we'd get the lie and the loft in the correct gap in for you, I'd say. Kaushal, that'd probably be the way I'd like to do that. But it's good to know where they currently are. So that's playing at 61.
61, okay.
Yeah. A little bit more upright at 63. That's playing at 56. So the 56 is playing at 56.
It's playing at 56. Okay.
Yeah. So that's 5. You've technically got 5 degrees between the clubs at the moment, anyway.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So if I bump the 56 strong a little bit,
Yeah.
you know, I'd expect the gapping to be pretty similar.
Okay.
And then we've got 63 on the lie, and the 52 is actually playing at 53 and a half. So it's playing a little bit weak.
All right.
Yeah. And then let me see what the 48's doing. It's actually playing at 50.
The 48.
Yeah.
Ah.
Had it been weakened off, do you know?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
That would kind of make sense based on what's happened with the rest of the set.
Yeah.
Because obviously this has got the same shaft in as the iron set.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's 50 degrees. So technically, the distance that you hit that wouldn't change.
Right.
We would just be changing
The length.
Yeah.
Okay. Thing is, I just got them got them all longer
Yes.
recently.
Yeah, I noticed that when I was taking the readings on them that they were all longer.
They were standard before.
Yeah. So you've just had them extended,
Yeah,
have you?
yeah.
Right, yeah. Well, I mean, how have you found them playing them at the additional length?
Found them all right.
Yeah.
Just used to. I don't know though.
I mean, ideally we'd have them all in,
Same,
in a similar spec up and down, But I think in the wedges, because they are naturally a little bit shorter anyway, if you did have something which was playing at slightly longer length, but you really got on with it,
yeah,
you could almost say, oh, well, I'll leave it as is. But I would be inclined to get them all. So
shortened, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So then they balance the same. In terms of shafts, I mean, if we're playing the Neo 95, I'd probably be inclined to recommend the Modus 105 wedge shaft, which plays about 111 grams. Probably be inclined to recommend that as a wedge shaft.
Okay.
So in the 48 or the new 50, the gap wedge, I'd go with the Neo 95 because it's more of a full shot club. But the other two wedges, the 56 and the 60, I'd probably go with the Modus 105 wedge.
Okay.
So I can show you what that feels like. I'll put those together for you quickly. So I'll get you to hit a few of these. We're just going to go off the front mat, if that's all right.
Yeah.
Okie dokies. Yeah, so I'll just let you hit a few just to try and... So this is the...
What distance do we want?
No, we'll just hit some 3/4 to full shots with it, and then
Okay.
we'll hit some partial shots with it as well. How's that feel?
Yeah.
Weight-wise?
Feels heavier in the head
Yeah.
again, but looks like it's coming off nice and smooth.
Mm-hmm. Nice again. Yep. So I mean, what all we'd really be doing here is just balancing up what we've done in the irons into the wedges.
Yeah.
Staying in the Nippon family, and then this is a wedge specific shaft, so it's a little bit softer in the tip section, designed to be just a bit more active, help with dynamic loft, help with spin. So it's really designed to go into wedge heads in particular.
A bit low. Long spin. Yeah. So this is 54, yeah?
Yeah, so 96, finished at 99.
Yeah.
So it's in quite a nice gap for you. So I'd knock your 56 to 55. So you go 50, 55, 60.
Yeah.
The 60 and the 55 would have the Modus 105 wedge shaft in there. And then the 50 degree would go with the Neo 95 to match in with the rest of the irons.
Okay. Yeah. Nice. That came off there, so it'll probably go a bit further as well, right? If it hits centre or not?
Yeah, you might get a little bit more ball speed out of it. Yeah, I expect the launch and the spin to stay pretty similar, but yeah, definitely moved it into the centre a little bit more.
Okay.
I always find that sometimes the Trackman yardages indoors can be a little bit low on the wedges comparatively, maybe
Right.
half a club, maybe sometimes, just based on my own testing from how far I hit it outdoors. But so yeah, you'd probably say 99 total, add another half a club on there, 105, carrying it 100. That would sort of make sense.
Okay.
Yeah, so that'd be quite a simple change. I don't think there's any real point in, you know, you've got the components there in terms of the heads and whatnot. I think it would just be the shaft change going into the existing heads would be quite nice. Build everything to the standard length so they all match in with where the iron sets is.
Yeah.
Keep a bit of continuity in there. That'd probably be what I'd recommend there, Kaushal. I mean, because you've had additional length added onto the clubs, when I checked the swing weight, for example, the current 56, swing weight's really heavy because of the additional length that's been put onto there. So they've only got one head weight you see in the wedges.
Right.
And then you've got the additional length on there, so its swing weight's really heavy, so that might affect your technique and not allow you to play particular shots.
Right.
So I mean, by going to more of a standard length and more of a controlled shaft weight in here, I think you'll also be able to improve particular shots that you play with your wedges as well.
Okay. Makes sense.
Last question, grip size, grip type. So you say that you play the CP2 wraps. They sort of settled on them, or would you like to try something new?
No, could I try something new?
Yeah.
And something that would help in the wet as well?
In the wet?
Yeah, because we play in the winter.
Yeah. I mean, generally when you're looking at sort of in wet conditions and control, you're looking at sort of corded grips naturally. But if you're then trying to maintain a little bit of softness in there, you might, because obviously you've played the Z chord before.
Yeah, these are ripping my hands up.
They're pretty heavy, yeah. So you might want to go to something which is a slightly lighter chord.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you follow me over to the grip wall, we'll have a little look and see what you think. I mean, so options, couple of Lambkin, couple of Golf Pride we've got here. Couple of chord, couple of non-chord. You know, you've got your heavier chorded option like that, which is the crossline full chord.
Yeah.
To be honest, not too dissimilar to what you've got in the Z chord here. So probably that's a no.
Yeah.
They do this one though, which is called the Genesis, which I find actually the chord a little bit softer on this. It's still a fuller chord, but it's a little bit softer. See what you think of that. See if it's too much again.
So much less to that.
Yeah. It's a little bit softer, certainly, and the compound of the grip's a little bit softer as well, so it gives you a bit more feel and feedback. So that'd be an option.
Yeah, that could be
if you
an
wanted to retain, if you're somebody who just play a lot of wet weather golf, then that could be good. The multi-compound, probably the second most popular grip on the market behind the Tour Velvet. Obviously hybrid grip, so cord in the top hand, softer compound in the bottom hand here. Best of both
why is
worlds.
that? Why is it softer in the bottom hand?
Just because people wanted a bit more feel and feedback, especially with their wedge shots in the bottom hand.
Okay.
So that's sort of the feel hand, so to speak, for the right-handed golfer. And then the glove hand, bit of traction up there with the cord.
Right.
So it's a real hybrid grip. So it's been out on the market a long time now. I've personally played multi-compounds well over sort of 10 years.
And they're doing a good job.
Yeah, you know, my hands tended to perspire during rounds. I used to play wet weather golf as well, not so much anymore. Definitely more of a fair weather golfer now, but I just wanted something that felt safe and secure. I came from a full corded grip, and that was a nice middle ground for me personally.
Okay, that's a maybe then.
Yeah, and then you've got a couple of other options here. So this is a new one, CPX.
Yeah.
Again, it's not a corded grip, but it's got a lot of traction to it.
Yeah.
So that would be an option as well. Soft.
Quite nice.
Yeah, quite soft. A lot of feedback to that.
Yeah.
And then the other option would be this one, a Lampkin, which is called the Sonar Plus. So
yeah,
again,
I've used this one.
A little bit of traction on there, yeah. Nice, you know, good grip on it as well.
Probably between one of these two, I think.
Okay. I mean, personally, if you're going for something which has an element of cord in it and it's going to help in the wet weather, then I'd probably say I'd go for the multi-compound.
Yeah, let's go that one.
Best of both worlds.
Best of both, yeah.
Yeah.
Because this finger is the one that gets ripped up.
It's proven, you know, we get a lot of it on tour. You've got people like Roy McIlroy playing them, so it's been out a long time now. It's very established, so it does, you know, does a bit of both basically. It's nice and soft in the bottom hand compound, but that little bit of traction at the top here. So not too heavy that if you're hitting balls, it's going to rip your
yeah,
hand
that's
up,
the thing, because that's hit some range balls quite a lot.
Yeah.
I had to buy another glove because getting a bit too soft.
I mean, obviously this is your top, this is your glove hand, so
yeah.
it's not too bad. But in the bottom hand, it's pretty soft in there.
Yeah.
And then in terms of what size glove did you say you were?
Medium.
Medium, yeah. Could you just grip that for me? Just drop your right hand off for me. Have a little look. Okay, so basically the way we do our fittings, it's completely personal to be honest with you, but we're just looking for the fingertips to touch that fleshy part of the palm. If they're digging in, means the grip's too big, too small, sorry. If you can't touch it, means the grip's too big, at which point you're probably having to apply too much pressure through the free fingers here. What we really want is we just want it to just touch in so you can just relax the hand onto the grip. How does that feel?
Yeah, that feels right.
Pretty good. I'd probably say, so if you wanted it slightly bigger, then I'd probably say we'd add a couple of wraps on, so let me grab that for you.
Yeah.
So that's a second layer of tape there.
Yeah.
Which is probably closer to what you've got on the CP2 wraps at the moment. That's a third layer. So that's a little bit thicker again.
I don't know.
If you prefer the slightly thicker feel.
Yeah.
Would you go thicker than what you've got in the CP2 wraps at the moment?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. I don't know, like, because I've got big hands, I think.
So at which point I'd probably be inclined, sort of medium to medium large. I'm usually recommending sort of 2 to 3 wraps. 3 wraps if you want bigger. Generally, sort of small glove size, I'm recommending 1 to 2. Most guys with small hands go for 1. As you get into sort of medium large, we're looking at sort of 3 wraps.
Okay.
But again, it's completely personal, right? Because I've got some guys who just want it to feel thicker.
Yeah.
And other guys who quite like it being narrow. They feel like they can work it and feel it a little bit more. So this is where it really comes down to the golfer. There's no sort of right or wrong answer here. It's completely personal feel here, Kaushal.
Yeah. Because this is 2.
So if they feel a little bit narrow, then I'd be inclined to go 1 more. Go
yeah,
to 3
like,
without overcooking it, you know.
Is it this finger or this finger?
The middle. Yeah, that middle one there.
Yeah, because it's touching. Yeah, could we go with 3 then?
Yep, no problem. And you want to go with the multi-compounds?
Yeah, please.
They do several different colours.
Red.
Black. They do black, red, yeah.
Yeah, could I get that?
Black red.
Yeah.
Yep, perfect. Logo up, logo down.
What does that mean? Like that way? Like that?
That's it. So basically you can use, some people use it for their hands. So if I turn it that way, as you can see, Kaushal, you can't, no logo.
Actually, let's do there that way.
Logo up.
Yeah, because then I can actually do that.
Use your hands, yeah.
Which I don't do.
No problem. All done.
Cool.
So, settled on Titleist
Yep.
T200
Yep.
with the Nippon Neo 950 SR Flex, men's stand length 37.5 inches. We went for D2 swing weight, standard lie angle, 2 degrees additional loft on there. And then grips are going to be Golf Pride multi-compound, black red, 3 layers of tape.
Yeah.
Then in the wedges, we're going to use the existing heads, 48, which we're going to get to 50.
Yeah.
56, which we're going to bend to 55, and 60, which we're going to keep at 60. We're going to go with the Neo 950 in the 48, which is going to be the new 50, because it's more of a full shot club.
Yeah.
And then in the 56/55 and the 60, we're going to go to the Modus 105 wedge shaft, which was that shaft there.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
All right, perfect. So what I'll do is I can put that quote together for you, send it over. I can do it now for if you want to take a seat, and then we can discuss it, and then you can go from there, Brady Kaushal. If not, I can email it over to you, and you can let us know what you want to do.
Yeah. Okay.
No problem at all. Thanks for coming in.
Cool. Cheers. Thank you.